is 2. Public offer, JSC RaiFFeiZen Bank, on changing the procedure for exchanging information for filing a request for a grace period for mortgage loan agreements dated October 13, 2022. 1. In this public offer of JSC RaiFFeiZen Bank on changing the procedure for exchanging information for filing a request for a grace period under mortgage loan agreements, hereinafter referred to as the offer. The following terms are used with the meaning defined below. 1.1. RF Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. 1.2. Military personnel, persons specified in paragraphs 1 to 3 of Part 1 Article 1, Part 6 Article 8 Law No. 377, FZ. 1.3. Borrower, an individual, the borrower or joint borrowers under the loan agreement. 1.4. Law No. 377, FZ, Federal Law No. 377, F. 2022, on the specifics of fulfilling obligations under credit agreements, loan agreements, by persons taking part in special military operation, as well as members of their families, and on amendments to certain legislative acts of the Russian Federation. 1.5. Lender or bank, JSC RaiFFeiZen. Moscow, Smolenskaya Senaya Square, 28, in 7,744,302, OGRN 1,027,739,320. 1.6. Loan. Funds provided by the lender to the borrower on the terms of repayment, payment and for a period in accordance with the loan agreement. 1.7. Loan agreement. A mortgage loan agreement concluded between the borrower and the lender. 1.8. Bank website. The official website of the bank on the internet, www.RaiFFeiZen.ru. 1.9. SVO is a special military operation in the territories of Ukraine, the Donetsk People's Republic and the Lugansk People's Republic. 1.10. Requirement. A requirement to provide a grace period under a loan agreement in accordance with Law No. 377, FZ. 1.11. Family member of a military person, family members of persons specified in paragraphs 1 to 3 of Part 1 Article 1, Part 6 Article 8 Law No. 377, FZ. Defined in accordance with paragraph 5 of Article 2 of the Federal Law of May 27, 1998, number 76 FZ, on the status of military personnel who entered into a loan agreement in the period before the circumstances specified in paragraphs 1 to 3 of Part 1 Article 1, Part 6 Article 8 Law No. 377, FZ. Definitions of other terms used in the text of the offer are contained in the loan agreement. 2. The text of this offer is addressed to the borrowers specified in Part 1 of Article 1 and Part 6 of Article 8 of Law No. 377. A public offer of the bank to provide a request using the electronic form on the bank's website, www.RaiFFeiZen.ru, by the address, http. 3. By submitting a request through the bank's website using the link above, the borrower hereby confirms. 3.1.1. They're belonging to one of the categories of borrowers provided for in Part 1 of Article 1 and Part 6 of Article 8 of Law No. 377, FZ. 1. A borrower, including an individual entrepreneur, called up for military service upon mobilization in the RF Armed Forces and who entered into a loan agreement with the lender before the day of mobilization. 2. A borrower undergoing military service in the RF Armed Forces under a contract, or in military service in the troops of the National Guard of the Russian Federation, in military formations and bodies specified in paragraph 6 of Article 1 of Federal Law Number 61FZ of May 31, 1996, on defense, subject to his participation in the SVO, who entered into a loan agreement with the creditor before the day of his participation in the SVO. 3. A borrower, including an individual entrepreneur, who has entered into a contract on voluntary assistance in performing the tasks assigned to the RF Armed Forces, and who has concluded a loan agreement with the lender before the day the contract is signed. 4. A borrower serving in the departments, services, detachments of the federal executive body in the field of security for the border service, in border agencies, on the territory of the Russian Federation, ensuring the conduct of SVO. 5. The borrower is a family member of the persons specified in paragraphs 1 to 4 above, determined in accordance with paragraph 5 of Article 2 of the Federal Law of May 27, 1998, number 76FZ, on the status of military personnel, who entered into a loan agreement with the creditor before the day the serviceman, whose family member he is, experienced the circumstances specified in page 1 to 4 above. 3.1.2. That he has been notified of the need to provide one of the following documents at the request of the bank: summons, agenda, of the military commissariat, provided for by the decree of the President of the Russian Federation dated September 21, 2022 N647, on the announcement of partial mobilization in the Russian Federation, translated from Russian to English. A contract confirming military service and participation in the military district, in the form established Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation. Contract on voluntary assistance in performing the tasks assigned to be. A summons, from the military commissariat or a contract for military service, in the form established Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation. Or a contract on voluntary assistance in performing tasks assigned to the RF Armed Forces, as well as documents confirming the status of a family member of a serviceman, applicable for family members of a serviceman. 3.1.3. That the above documents will be received and provided in accordance with the legislation of the Russian Federation. Notified of liability for providing false information. 3.1.4. That upon expiration of the grace period, the borrower will need to repay the debt in accordance with the specified repayment schedule for the loans sent to the borrower by the bank. 4. This offer is posted on the bank's official website on the internet, www.RaiFFeiZen.ru. 5. The borrower's acceptance, consent, of the bank's proposal to change the procedure for exchanging information under the loan. Submission by the borrower of the requirement in electronic form on the bank's website, www.RaiFFeiZen.ru, by the address, http://url. 6. Changes to the loan agreement become effective from the moment the bank receives the first acceptance, consent, of the borrower in the manner prescribed in Clause 5. Meaning the borrower's unconditional acceptance of all the terms of this offer. 7. The bank reserves the right to change this offer.